who's your father? Because you take so much pride in this junior.
It's like, man, I really wouldn't mind coaching girls.
I was determined to be the kind of father to Nikki that my father was to me.
And from day one, man, I fell in love with the game of basketball.
I have to credit the game of basketball for me getting a college degree.
Man, that was, hey, look.
This my intro, this my theme music right here, man.
Growing up, I was probably overly competitive. I was very emotionally competitive.
I got a quote on my board right in front of me. It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame.
Part of coaching is knowing when to get out the way.
Well, God is pruning me, I gotta be still and know that He is God.
I love you, Pops. I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to more of these.
Love you, man.
Absolutely. Love you too, man.
Thanks for tuning in.
Cloud account's getting full. All right. Welcome to this edition of On the Sideline with Coach AD. Hey, guys, I got a special treat for you today. I have the honor and pleasure of being able to sit with a young man that I admire, that I love as a brother. We've got a long history together, and I am not ashamed and don't hesitate to say that Mr. Leroy Allen gave me my first opportunity to coach over 20 years ago, and I haven't looked back, and I haven't regretted. And I'm just thankful for my brother Leroy. Leroy, welcome to On the Sideline.
Yeah, good morning, brother. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here with you.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, right? So you text me. You said I didn't review the questions, so I had created, some generic questions for, just that I sent to pretty much everyone that I've invited to sit, in your seat. And be a part of this series, but it was really generic questions to kind of guide conversations. And I was like, man, we got too much history. We don't got to worry about all that. So, but one of the questions that I did ask was from the 30,000 foot view, right? They say, in the airplane, they say once you reach 30,000 feet, now it's safe to do this. It's say, you can turn on your electronic devices, you can move around the cabin. I equate that 30,000 foot analogy to being on the sideline, right? As a coach, I recognized, I always loved basketball, but once I started coaching, I looked at and I saw the game in a different way, right? I'm looking at different things now. I'm not just watching the ball bounce or the ball pass or the ball shot, right? I'm looking at movement of players. I'm looking at defensive schemes. I'm looking at, strategy of the coaches and just all of that, right, kind of comes into play. And so from the 30,000 foot view, man, share with our audience the 30,000 foot view of Leroy Allen. Let's, we could take it back to childhood up and through, throughout your progression.
Hey, wait, that's a heck of a starting question, for real. Growing up in Southeast DC, I remember my mom taking me to my first CYO basketball game at OLPH. And, me, and again, my mom didn't play, my dad played a little bit, but just really didn't know anything about the game. So my mom just said, look, you just need some exercise, and sent me out into the gym. And from day one, man, I fell in love with the game of basketball. I remember my first, Al Hawkins, my first coach. And, I was just a big, lazy kid, but he was patient with me. And I think that's the first thing I learned about the game of basketball is to be patient. And as a coach, to your players. And he was patient with me. Saw something in me, had a lot of raw talent. And then, just been patient and taught me the fundamentals from the beginning. And then from there, I had no idea from that time how that was going to shape me to the person I am today and to the connections and then how I will be, one day playing for one of the all-time greatest basketball coaches of all time. To be able to go to school for free as a young man in Southeast DC, I didn't see that vision for my life. I'm thankful every day for my mom just putting me in that position, believing in me and trusting that I would pick this game up and that I would be able to just have a wonderful experience with the game. And then from, CYO, and then to be in the position to be one day at Coach Morgan Wooten's basketball camp, which thousands of young men have come through, and to be there knowing that that's something my mom had that vision for me. But I still didn't sense that because, again, of course, social media back then didn't exist. I didn't know what this big umbrella of the basketball was all about at the time. And I remember going to the basketball camp, catching the bus every day to get there. And I recall, I had a great week, made some great people. I got some great teaching about the game of basketball. And I remember, and I was a sponge, and I remember just taking all that teaching I received, and just for every game, I just got better and better every day during the week. And I remember one day being out there at St. John High School on an outdoor court. We were playing. I think it was called, as coach used to call it, the soda game. I think we didn't make the playoffs. So of course, everybody still had to play on that day. And I remember being out there. Some people just having fun, but I was, again, I was just trying to, play the game and the teachings I learned that week. And I just didn't know Coach Wooten was out there watching me that day.
Wow.
He had a pretty good game. And I remember I was walking back to the gym after the game, and Coach Wooten called me by my name and said, you had a great game, Leroy. And I said, thank you, Coach. And he said, by the way, what school are you going to? I'm an eighth grader at this time. I said, well, Coach, I took the test. I got waitlisted at DeMatha. Mackin was my other school. And so I'm just waiting to see what happens next. And he told me, he said, don't worry about it. You'll hear from us next week.
Wow.
And sure enough, I received a letter from DeMatha Catholic High School saying I've been accepted. And then from there, obviously, my life changed forever.
Wow, man, that's awesome story, man. And I was sharing with you some experience I've had with Morgan as well. And this is the one of the things in terms of our paths, the similarities or commonalities, as I like to say. We both went to DeMatha. I graduated in 1978. I did not have the fortune to play. I didn't necessarily go to DeMatha to play basketball, although I was very familiar with the success of their program, of who Morgan Wooten was, some of the great players that up until that time had gone there and matriculated through that program. I said this to Mike Bozeman, as a matter of fact. You mentioned Mike earlier. I said to Mike that, and if follow me on this, Morgan had an indirect, direct impact on my life, if that makes sense. So when I was physically at DeMatha, I would go to practices. I would sit in the gym. I tried out for the team as a junior. That was a joke. I say that because it was like, I transferred in as a junior, which was unheard of based on what everybody told me, like, how'd you do that? Right. And I transferred in. I tried out. I came from a school of about roughly 200 kids. And it was over 100 kids trying out for the basketball team that day. I remember, man. So the first criteria was we had to be able to run a mile in under 6 minutes or something like that. Right. And so if you didn't do that, then you couldn't come into the gym. Exactly. So I made over that hurdle, right? And then got in the gym. I was like, man, this is insane, man. It was more kids in that school, in that gym that day than was at the whole school that I came from. Right.
But let me just add to that right there. Like I had a direct, because I played for Coach Wooten. I had a direct contact with Coach Wooten. And you said that direct contact you have, you just think about it. Over the time Coach Wooten coached, his players, he probably impacted more direct people than he did direct people. So again, you in a different category all in itself.
Right. No, that's a great point, because I was probably being long-winded, but I was going somewhere, with it, is the fact that that indirect direct. In other words, right, coming, you and I met at church. And then we started, or I started, because you guys were already doing it, playing in adult league, men's league. And that's kind of how our paths crossed. And then when you got the head coaching job at Washington Bible College, I was in a transition situation. My parents were ill, and I was like, man, I got, if you could use some help, man, I don't need no compensation or nothing. I love the game that much.
Right.
And I enjoy, your company as well, obviously. But when you say, and so when I had the opportunity to actually sit with Morgan and just talk and think about the impact that he had on me, and in my paper, he helped me. He was the subject of my senior thesis or my senior research project when I was graduating from Washington Bible College. I remember the final part of that paper. I wrote, like, I could only wish that I had an opportunity to play for him. Like how much different, because I saw the impact that he had on so many, right? And like you said, direct and indirect. And then after having gotten into coaching, is when I met a lot of guys like yourself that had come through. Like I became, I became good friends with Vaughn Jones, with Dwayne Simpkins. I mean, that list goes on and on. I knew Adrian Branch because I graduated with his oldest brother. Right. Again, yourself, Charles Minor. I don't even want to, I'm gonna stop there because I'm gonna do a disservice to some guys. Right. Frank Oliver. I didn't know Frank went to DeMatha, right? And I had an opportunity to coach with him as well. Right. And so, man, let's pivot right there to mentorship, because that's something that I really am really focusing on now at this stage of my life, because that's not something that was taught to us that I remember growing up. In other words, like you a man, you gotta go get it, find your way, make your way, and asking for help wasn't necessarily something that we were taught to do. We were taught to figure it out. I can speak for myself. But now I think it's becoming more common now for mentoring, coaching, and life coaching, not basketball coaching I'm talking about now. And so talk to me about mentorship, because I know that you've had some powerful people that have influenced your life, and one person in my mind particularly that has influenced both of our lives. Share with us about that.
Ooh. So yeah, obviously my first mentor. Now I'm going back to my CYO days at OLPH, and at the time, the late great Rudy Burton.
Yes, sir.
He was the athletic director of the program at that time, and again I was playing. Time was midgets, and then you had juniors back in the day, and I was playing midget ball, and I remember. Coach Rudy was coaching the juniors, and I just couldn't wait to be part of his program and play for him. And that was around the time of transition where my family moved from DC to Maryland. And so the time for me to come to play for Coach Rudy, I was living in Maryland then. And it was a tough transition for my parents to get me back and forth over there. So I had to make a decision to play for my junior high school team in Maryland or play for Coach Rudy. And knowing the strains it was putting on my family as well, my mom getting to work and trying to get me all across town and so forth. And I made the very tough decision, to play for my junior high team just because I knew it would have been easier for my mom. So I never got a chance to actually play for Coach Rudy. But again, from that, though I never played for him, he was my life coach. He said, "Hey, I understand. I'm gonna be there for you." He was like, he was that godfather, that father figure as far as basketball I didn't really have with my own biological father. And from that, from that time on until his passing, he was instrumental, in my basketball career. the time came to choosing, hey, to go to the Masters night, he said, I cannot be more proud of you. And he knew Coach Wooten personally. Did you have an opportunity to go to the Masters and play for Coach Wooten? And, you know, he was at every game. You know what I'm saying? He was there for my decision making to go to college, to my decision making to get married. He was there every step of the way. Like, you talking about a mentor. And then, you know, that soft handoff to Coach Wooten, you know, in my life. And then, you know, to his passing, you know, he was there for me anytime I needed him, pick up the phone to say, Coach, can I put your name on this as a reference for me, a recommendation? And I mean doors that opened for me.
Right.
And so again, right off the bat, I had two great, you know, mentors, you know, at an early age in my life. And then when I graduated from college, I came under the mentorship of Coach George Leftwich. You know, great player at Carroll High School, great high school coach. We coached at UDC together. And then, you know, he mentored me. He gave me my first experience as a college basketball coach. So I'll never forget that experience I had with him. And then from there, I came under the tutelage of Al Gore, not Al Gore, Riley Gore, from Slam and Jam AAU program.
Mm-hmm.
Now he just walked me through every principle of AAU basketball to help propel me to have the success I had as an AAU coach. Lou Wilson, you know, great coach here in PG County, now at Wise, has been a long, long time at Largo, been under his tutelage. So I'm thankful for that. Even my college coach, Dick Berg, was a great mentor for me as well. So again, I had great mentor, you know, starting, I said, with Coach Burton and Coach Morgan from the jump.
Yeah, man, I could feel the emotion, man, when you mentioned Rudy, man. Rudy was such an awesome guy, man. I gotta go back through my files. I got some pictures of us. You know, it was me, you, Emmett Charles, man, on that sideline, bro. That was some good times, man.
You know, when I got the job at Washington Bible College, you know, I had brought Coach Rudy over to McNamara.
Okay.
Because I said we needed some experience because we were so young. This is after we won the championship, the only championship, Bishop McNamara, back in '95. And next year I get the job at Washington Bible College. My first call, I said, "Hey, Coach, I just got the job at Washington Bible College. I need you. He said, he called me, he said, you little joker, you know I got already McNamara, I just can't leave. This and that. And I respected that. Because then again, he told me about how important it is to be accountable.
Mm.
You know, and he stayed that 1 year, this commitment. He said, but just hold my seat, you know. And, you know, then he came and joined us, you know, that following year. And again, I couldn't ask for a better dream team as far as coaches, you know, as far as young men who I trusted, young men that I wanted to share this experience with, and just had the same passion that I had for the game.
Yeah, let's talk about, man, I know that, just in terms of your success as a coach, the longevity that you've had, the various age groups that you've touched. Probably the one thing that I don't think that you haven't done that I have had the opportunity was to go on the girls' side, right. Which was a blessing, really, because I will honestly believe and feel that the greater portion of my success has been on that side in terms of the young ladies that I've had the opportunity to coach and influence that have gone on to play Division I basketball. I've coached multiple McDonald's All-American. I've coached multiple Gatorade Players of the Year on the girls' side. So, you know, it's not about me per se, but I just, like, those are the things that I've had the opportunity to experience. But talk about Forest for Benny, because you mentioned AAU. You know, you've spanned a variety of platforms. Let's, you know, for lack of a better word, man. Talk about that, because I know that you had a journey, and I'm gonna circle back. I'm gonna give you a chance to answer, but I had a great conversation with a gentleman I was interviewing for a baseball coach just earlier this week. So, but let's talk about that experience in terms of, you know, you went from, you know, college, high school, AAU, you know, you've done the whole gamut. Like, just kind of share about that a little bit.
Well, again, after graduating from college, I knew right away that, anything to try to pursue anything other than pro basketball, that wasn't in my future. And I was very fortunate and blessed to be able to land the assistant coaching job at the University of District of Columbia as an assistant basketball coach under Coach George Leftwich. Did that for about 3 years. So that in itself was a great eye-opening experience for me to, still have that passion of the game, still be close to the game, and to be able to say, hey, I can make this a career, And I remember, and I know I shared this with you before, I remember going out to the Final Four one year, and I went to the Black Coaches Association meeting they have every year. And again, being that sponge, I'm trying to meet as many people as I can. And I remember sitting at this little round table, about 8 men. And they was just talking about, going out on the road. They was talking about getting that next great player. They was talking about doing all this, having the success they had, how many times they was away from home, and what it's going to take, and so forth. And I'm just sitting there listening to the stories, and I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds good. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm young, 22, right out of college. I can do this. And then they went around the room, and each one of the 8 men around the table, I was the 9th man, all had one thing in common. They were divorced.
Wow.
And and then it was like something came over me, like, wow. You just, it's like you planted this great story, then all of a sudden you just deflated it and saying, well, you guys are all divorced now. So the game became bigger than, say, life and happiness and being a father and, being a husband. And right there, I realized, like, you know what? I don't know if I wanted this. Even though I wasn't thinking about marriage at that time, but I think down the road, I was thinking about marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So then I say, but again, 22, 23 years old, that's what I'm going to do. And then from my college experience, I went right to high school with Eleanor Roosevelt and ended up coaching JV, being a substitute teacher, and then having that experience and taking some of that teaching I just learned in college and taking it and bringing it on this high school JV level. And then from there, I think where I went to there, then I'm trying to think from there, go back around that time. And then again, I was in a relationship with my now wife for 27 years. And then I had to step away from basketball for a little while because of the fact that, we were starting a family and the toll it was taking for me still. And I was coaching high school ball. I think I was at McNamara then. I remember my son being, my oldest son being born on city title Sunday. We won the city title. And then, then I know I had to walk away because then our second son came and it was just too much for my wife at the time. And at the time, yes, being a father was more important than being a basketball coach. And then able to get back into the game a little bit. And I remember, dragging my sons in their carriages, to the gym and everything. And then, then going into AAU basketball, my sons got a little older. And then my thing was I wanted to be a parent, and I'm sitting in the gym watching my sons practice with some other guys. And I'm sitting here saying, I have all this basketball knowledge. And I'm sitting here watching somebody who's not knowledgeable as I am. I was volunteering. And I said, you know what, I can do this, you know what I'm saying? And so I got coaching in the AAU, not to actually coach my sons, but because I felt as a professional, I was a coach. And so, and then I started coaching them and I coached middle school at Riverdale. And again, I was humble enough. It wasn't about, I was a big time assistant basketball coach. So there was nothing wrong with me take a JV job or be a middle school coach, be an AAU coach or an 8-under team. Again, it was coaching. And I didn't put, and I told that, and the coaches always ask me, what I learned and what I taught and what I received at Mather, at UDC, at Hofstra, I took it to my 7-under, 8-under team and taught them basketball, because basketball don't have an age number on it,
Right.
if you teach it correctly.
Right. Yeah, man. And so, yeah, that's a great segue, because going back to the conversation. So we were interviewing a gentleman for our middle school baseball job. And he and I were having a conversation prior to the actual interview. And I'm not sure how we got there, but we were talking about youth sports, and he was just saying how basically youth sports these days is so convoluted with the pressure, the win, and the this and the that, and all of the the accolades and the gear and all the stuff that's the recruiting right now at middle school and elementary school, right? But then he was like, well, I said, well, he was just saying it was too much, right? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, I coached club, and we would travel, we would go all over the place. And I'm like, if not for that, would these young people have that experience? And he said, well, what age group? And I said, well, primarily high school students. He said, yeah, but what about the youngers? And it made me think about you. And I think about, and I'm gonna tell you a specific example. You had played when you were coaching the Trailblazers, and you guys played some team from Texas one year. The following year, everything is big down there. Now I'm in Texas, right? So I see it now, right? Everything is big. Jokers got a little bank, and they don't mind flaunting their bank, right? But the guy, right? I think now, I'm hoping I'm gonna tell the story right. He flew your team to Texas, picked you guys up at the airport in a charter bus, right? And then as part of that whole experience, y'all went to the Cowboy Stadium, which I know that just floated your boat. I don't know how you be a Cowboy fan from DC, but anyway, I digress. Tell me about that, man, because I know like those guys probably will never forget that experience.
You know what? And you bring that up, it's the Texas Titans. But again, it started at that initial 8 and under team that I had the opportunity to coach. And again, for me, it was not about winning. I just wanted to teach the game of basketball. Toward the game of basketball, that 8 and under team, we only lost one game. And that's what happened to be the national championship game. and I remember my kids were distraught. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to tell them after we were undefeated, no year, we lose the national championship game, about 5 points or so. And I told them, I said, okay, y'all can go to the pool when we get back to the hotel. Because I treat it like a business. They said, well, coach, everybody's going to the pool. I said, nah, bro, we ain't coming here to go to the pool. Right, I said, we can pool the rest of the summer. Right. We here to win a national championship. And I told them, I said, you know what, this is bigger than just this one game. Because one day, I want to be able to sit at y'all wedding, watch you guys be stand up there for each another at the end of the day. And I remember one of my players told me, Coach, I'm getting married and I gotta get all the players' names, stuff like that. But so again, that success led to the 9 and under. And we go back and we get to the Final Four again. And again, our aspirations to win the national championship. We just lost last year. Get back to the Final Four, and we lose to the Texas Titans in the semifinal game. Okay. And so then the next year at 10 and under, Des Moines, Iowa, my favorite city, we go back, we play again, go to the Final Four again. We beat the Texas Titans to get to the national championship game. We win the national championship game. And then from that, of course, in AAU, when you win and you're doing the things the right way, people recognize that. And we had a great relationship with the Texas Titans coach and their families. That's what happened in the AAU when you garnish that respect. And like you said, then they used to come to Maryland to play in tournaments. And they decided to run their own tournament and said, say, hey, we'd love for you guys to come out. He said, Coach, we'd love to support you, but we're just not built like that financially to be able to just fly out to Texas and play in your tournament. But thank you for asking. He said, no, I'm not only I'm going to invite you, but we want to financially support you. We will fly your team, one parent, with you hotel accommodations, and everything. And I said that was an easy sell to my parents.
Right,
you know?
right.
And so we did that. And the thing, and the tournament was so well ran. They ran all the teams that made it to the Final Four. Because some tournaments you get to, you might not even play the Texas Titans, but somebody might lose. So it was just a round robin, make sure everybody played. And I get to my hotel room, Coach. I can't even get into my hotel room because there's boxes of stuff in my room.
Wow.
And I'm like, and then I called my team mom and said, you gotta get down here. She said, well, I can't get out of my room either because there was boxes in her room too. And you know, they giving everybody a bag, a basketball for all the players. And then they gave us watches, man. It was like I was going to a college tournament. They ran it. It was unbelievable. And so of course we played the last game, and I'm telling you, it had to be at least $5,000, $6,000 people. And we played them. We played it was a triple overtime game. And I got to the point, I told the coach, because it was on a Sunday, and we had to leave, catch our flight back home. I said, man, let's just call this thing a draw. Because again, there was no trophies or nothing going on.
Right.
And he said, Coach, we'll hold the plane. Don't worry about it. We're going to finish this game. And I said, y'all going to hold the plane? I said, okay. And next thing I know, Frank Howard, my great guard that went to Syracuse, hit a shot, man, at the buzzer. We ended up winning. And it was just, just capped just a great weekend and experience. And like you said, they knew I was a Cowboy fan, and they invited us and took us in. They had a suite at Texas Stadium and had opportunity for the first time to go to a Dallas Cowboy game and went to a Dallas Maverick game. And they just treated us so good. Again, it was just nothing but God. The owner was a Christian man, and he just saw the way we did things and saw how we, and he just, was able to just, allow us to experience that. And that's something, like you said, our team will never forget.
Amen. No, that's a great story, man. And I do remember. I think I still got there was a article written on you in that group. It was in the PG, one of those PG county newspapers. I can't remember the name of the paper, but you were on the cover. And I think it was at a practice. Matter of fact, the practice was at Washington Bible College.
Yeah, exactly.
And I still have that article, man, because I was just
a Post. I got that. It was from the Washington Post, and you're right, man. Just the success from that team, man. Just you could tell that God had a hand on our team and our program and the way we did things, and my players bought in. It was just an amazing run. And even to the point that the Washington Post had a team fly down to Florida with us to cover us. We had people wanting to donate money to us. How can we support the team? They was following our success, and like I said, we finished third that year. But it was an amazing run.
That's awesome, and that speaks a lot to your integrity, your character. I used to have. I did a basketball camp, and on the back of the t-shirts, I had "Character Matters." And that was a saying that I thought was, just appropriate, right? For young people to understand like who you are and what you do, no matter who's watching or if no one's watching, it matters. And I know that was something that you instilled in young men along your way, man. I know you had to step away for a little while too. And you mentioned family, man, and I have the honor and privilege of knowing your family, knowing your beautiful wife for 27 years, and I applaud you for that, because I think we right around the same, our anniversaries are around the same time. I remember one time we went to, you, myself, Arlene, and Charles, and Stephanie, and Lisa, we went to a concert, we went to dinner, we went to the concert to see Shirley Caesar.
Exactly.
Man, that was an awesome time. But family, man, talk to me about family, because another thing that I really admire, and I was trolling, we were talking about social media earlier. I was trolling Arlene's page, and I look at the pictures there, and I see, man, and I know because I've seen it firsthand, but just the importance, the significance of family that you come from, that you espouse, that I'm the adjectives are escaping me now. I know how important that is to you, and your family structure, your family support has always been something that I've admired. So, talk to us a little bit about family, man.
Well, I mean, obviously, you go back to Coach Wooten, and one of the top things he said, first is God first, family, school, and then maybe basketball.
Right.
And so again, and that's the principle that that I've been at an early age that he instilled in me. Having that personal relationship with Christ, and then me taking it to able to take it to the next level, committing my life to Christ and walking that walk. And then my family, again, as I mentioned, my mom had a vision for me and my brother. And then, for me to realize that vision, what it, and what she did, she just put us in place to be successful. And I took that vision and did the same thing with my sons. Who would have envisioned that my two sons went to two different high schools? But again, it was about finding their strengths and putting them in a position to be successful, and for them to support. One of my biggest, proudest moments is see my sons graduate from college. My oldest son Tyler from Columbia, and then my son Terrell graduated from UCF, and now pursuing his master's degree from Georgetown University, and just to support every step of the way, every to celebrate the different milestones that we were able to accomplish. From my sons graduating from college, from my son's basketball games, our family used to we go 25 deep down to Florida, rent homes, to go and support him, and then the opportunity, the icing on the cake for him to come back to Georgetown his senior year, and every night we had 30 tickets, and being able to support him and be there for him has just been amazing. And then even now, with him playing pro ball in Turkey, you can see on the YouTube channel the numbers go up because family members are watching, supporting him, and just great. And it goes all back to my mom, just always being there, being that cheerleader, instilling that in Arlene, instilling that in Lina, my nephews will be, a senior at Delaware, closing out a great college career. And my niece now at the Hearst Dance School in Boston. We're just so blessed. And again, it goes back to my mom's vision, putting her sons in great position to be successful. And we taking that and now instilling it in our sons and our children, the sons and daughters. And it's just been amazing. And then just the family support being there. And now, like I just shared with you just on yesterday, that my brother and I are getting back into coaching.
Right, that's awesome.
And once everything opened up, I can't wait for my mom to see us both coach on the sideline together, for the first time. And so that's exciting to have that opportunity as well to do that, just come full circle from that standpoint.
Absolutely. Well, this is the last question. I'm gonna give you the last word. I usually give my guests the last word, but the last question that I want to ask you is with respect to life, day-to-day life. Can you share with us the daily disciplines that have propelled you? Because it doesn't happen by accident, right? It has to be strategic goals, plans, dreams. But you have to take action in order to make those things happen, man. And so what would you say for yourself, for Leroy Allen? What are some of your daily disciplines that you believe propelled you to where you are today?
Oh, well, obviously, like you said, it goes back again from day one, God's first, to wake up every morning and just give God all the honor and praise for just to see another day, just give me health and strength, to have that quiet time, every morning, I sent out devotionals to over 50 people or more. Just keeping them encouraged, because you just don't know who you touching on, who somebody, one of your family members or friends might be going through something you might not even know. And these devotionals I send them, I think I send you a couple as well, that, I get a call later on and say, man, that was right on time. I needed that. And just being purposeful, especially during this time that we in with this COVID, man, to be able to pick up the phone, just check on a friend, check on a family member. I'm an outgoing person. I'm an extrovert. And this is probably one of the toughest things I had to go through. Be in my office all day, and I got to turn the TV on just so I can hear some chatter so I can make it through the day right now. But, and one of the things Coach Wooten said, just be the best you can be. Be the best Leroy Allen you can be. And, I try not to do nobody, I don't try to be anybody who I can't be. I live every day to, like I said, to love my family, be respected by my community. I walk through the neighborhood all the time. And, one of the things Coach Wooten say, the best thing you can tell somebody is yes or no. And say hello,
Wow.
And, and to be able to speak in that way and just live life to the fullest, man. I know, our days are numbered, and even more now based on the COVID, man. So living life to the fullest, to the best I can. Obviously, I can't go out and do all the things, but, this is a time to reconnect. I have my oldest son has been home for the past, since March. And then without this, I wouldn't have this experience with him. Obviously my relationship with my wife, is closer, and my father lives with me, and him this time, it's just sitting back and watching the game together, watching the movie together, having, dinners together. It's like, all this thing is happening. God, it's purposeful,
Yeah.
And it's about bringing the family together. Obviously, we can't bring the gigantic family together, but sometimes it's that intimate family time that's been missing. And even when Terrell was home prior to him leaving Turkey, every night, us sitting down and, say, hey, talking about your future, how can we help support you? What we need to do? And just about, again, goes back to my mom and her vision. And so that's been a great time for us to do that.
Your dad still playing golf?
Man, every chance he gets. Every chance he gets. As much as I love the game, man, I just don't love playing the game. I got a chance to go out twice in last month. We have our 83 class open golf tournament. And Robert Roach, our point guard at DeMatha, who I haven't seen since graduation.
Wow.
We connected to Coach at Coach Wooten's funeral. And he's coming down, and we have had a time now to reconnect because we lost almost 30 years and not being connected. He came down and played in the tournament, and we was on the same team, and just for 5 hours, man, we just caught up. Went out and had dinner that night and just talked about Coach Wooten. We talked about our time as a DeMatha and talk about life, where we are in our marriages, when our family, being fathers. It was just like, before it was 2 o'clock in the morning, now we talk every week now. And that just goes back to the DeMatha brotherhood, I'm so thankful that my mom dragged me to take that test, go to DeMatha. She saw something more in me than I saw in myself.
Right.
And, I got my DeMatha shirt on now, that's how much it means to me. And what DeMatha has done for me, that, as a daily, every time I get a chance to, speak about DeMatha, speak to one of my fellow brothers whose shoulders I stood on, and, it's a blessing.
No, absolutely, man. Just in terms, you say, to talk about prideful moments, there's definitely one for myself, in terms of being able to say that I graduated from that institution, and to see, like, to go back, now and relationship to what it was like before in terms of just the physical campus, it's like a whole different school almost. And so it's great to see the longevity. It's great to see the ongoing success, not just of the athletic program, but the overall, everything that happens in that school happens well. They do it well, and they've been recognized nationally and internationally. So definitely, just kudos, man, to the school, to those who are in charge of administrating the school right now. Definitely proud to say that I am a Stag. But hey, man, I don't have nothing else, man. If you, we could. Let me take that back. We could literally sit here probably, like you said, till 2 o'clock in the morning. I got some other stuff to do, and I know you do too. But hey, man, I want you to take the last word. Anything you want to leave with the folks, man. I know I've always looked at you as a friend, a brother in Christ. Again, those superlatives could go on and on. I'm thankful, man, that I can call you friend, and vice versa. And the impact that you've had on my life, and I've never hesitated to share that, right? I've never hesitated to share that. Leroy Allen gave me my first coach, and I often say, like, dang, man, I wish I could have did this earlier. Like, I probably would have been one of them cats sitting at the table, right? So thankful not, because I, like yourself, my wife and I, this past September, celebrate 27 years of marriage as well. So I'm very extremely thankful for that, man. But any parting words for our audience?
Of course, I just want to leave with Jeremiah 29:11. For you know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Brother, like you said, you coming alongside me at the time we had a special bond. And I just wanted to grow that thing to the best we could. I wanted to come alongside you to lift you up during that time that you were in, being a student. I'm so proud of you being a graduate of Washington Bible College, the time that we spent there. And, then you went on in the success you had in the coaching. And again, what about me having no tree? And again, like I said, it was just about, me planting that seed. Someone planted that seed in me. I've been selfish not to be able to not and just hold it all in and just keep it, And I was able to, give it to you, and I'm glad you ran with it. And that's what I wanted you to do. That's when I brought you on the staff, because I know you had that passion for the game. I wanted you to take it to the next level, what you did. And that's all I want to do now. Again, the reason I didn't get back into coaching, because again, I really wanted to come alongside and help somebody else. Because again, like I said, I've given a chance, and I just wanted to do the same thing. So again, just hope for a future. Right now, it's dim, but again, just to stay encouraged. We got to lean on each other. You just don't know when someone's not coming through. You just don't know what this doing. You calling me and having an interview, what it's done for me to lift my spirits and just give me confirmation that yes, me getting back into coaching is the right thing to do right now. So I'm thankful for that. Just jumping up those men. Because again, I was fearful to get back into coaching because I was afraid that I would not have the same success I had before. And then I thought about it. It was just be yourself. Right. And if we're successful again, then that's what it was supposed to be. But again, just working with these young men today, and now it's just reinsurance. Is to hope for the future. These young men, they have a future too, and I'm going to do everything I can to do and make a positive impact on them as well.
That's outstanding.
A positive impact in my life and my family's life, and you just don't know, man. You being out at that Houston game supporting Terrell. I'm jealous because that was a heck of a game. You was there with
man. That was, hey, look, okay, when we cut the camera, hey, look, man, I was in that, it was packed, man. It was noisy, and them dudes was battling, man. They was battling, and I was very happy that I could represent you and Arlene and be there in that moment. I actually went up to the SMU game as well up in Dallas, man. So, you know, I don't look at that like it was like, well, do I have something else? No, it was no second thought. Like Terrell is gonna be in town, Terrell is in the state, right? And Dallas ain't no, you know what I mean? Like you could drive, I've driven 6 hours and still been in Texas, man. Exactly. You know, I'm gonna be honest, like this, you could drive a lot, you know what I mean? It's a huge place, but it wasn't nothing gonna keep me from being at those two events, man. And I was very proud of my nephew to see him, man, just doing his thing, leading his team in both instances. And just the fact that has gone on to play professionally. You know, I just remember, you know, I was thinking about this day, we had the little church league team, and I was like coaching, you was like, why you do that? You should. I was trying to get I was giving everybody equal playing time. But it was like, man, you should have started them early and then left it. Terrell was crying, Tyler was crying, AJ was crying. I was like, God dang, man, I blew it, right? But that was a heck of a growing experience. Even that, I remember that, man. That was a crazy time.
Right, yeah, but we appreciate the love, man. I know Terrell appreciated you being there, knowing, you know, again, he's always loved to have family there, and you family, bro.
Amen.
You love Uncle Anthony, man. So appreciate that.
God bless, man. Have a blessed day, man. Please say hello to the family for me.
Yeah. Same thing, brother. At least our best. We love you, man.
Absolutely. Love you too, man.
That's real.
All right. Let's talk soon.
Let's do it, brother.
All right, be safe.
All right, be straight.
All right, later.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, it's your man Coach AD here. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of On the Sideline with Coach AD. I want to remind you too that you can catch all the latest episodes on your favorite podcast platform. Wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, you can catch On the Sideline with Coach AD. You can also see the full video version on Coach AD TV on YouTube. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and share with your family and friends if you found this content to be helpful and entertaining. We want to remind you that you can support us on our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/On the Sideline with Coach AD. And then lastly, contact us if you're interested in being a guest on the show, or maybe you even have a show idea that you would like to share with us. Or maybe you're a business owner that would like to promote your business on our show, or come on the show to promote your business. You can accomplish all of these things by shooting us an email at anthony@dynamiccoachingconcepts.com. Again, thank you for your support, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of On the Sideline with Coach AD. Peace and blessings. Coach AD, I'm gone.